everybody, it's Doug. Here we are. Quick disclaimer, if you hear any growling in the background, that's not the wife, that's actually the dog who spotted a bunny outside. But, well, if she stays quiet, we'll be very, very happy. So, you saw in my last video, opened up some locks out of a package, and in that package I had found two beautiful push key locks. Some of you may not have seen push key locks before or not seen them in operation. So that first lock, the Corbin, has now been cleaned up and given a key. So let's talk about that one first. You're seeing the video now of the lock as it came out of the package. Quite rusty and a lot of crud on the shackle. So first of all, the body of the lock is made from iron, and that means it just absorbs rust, picks up rust everywhere it can get. Then the shackle just had some green stuff and gunk on it. All of that's been cleaned off, but I did keep the beautiful patina. And if you are ready, here we are. Finished result. Beautiful, clean condition. Left that patina in place. I left a little bit of that green down there. I might still work on getting that off, but the beautiful patina is there. But now we can actually see the New Britain, Connecticut, USA, and the Corbin there, and the beautiful logo imprinted into the iron. It has a more modern looking keyway, where the Yale that you'll see later has just that tiny, tiny thin slot. I was able to match the Corbin key blank C01 to it and make myself a key by hand. So in a few minutes we're going to be talking about the actual process I went through, seeing some photos, and when it's all done we're going to pick it. So for those of you who are less familiar with push key locks, key goes in, but instead of turning, it actually pushes upward, unless you have no strength in your hands, and allows you to rotate or turn the key to move the shackle. So when it comes to picking it later, we're actually not going to be turning to get our pins to bind, but we're going to be pushing to get the pins to bind. We'll talk about that one. So there you go. Now let us talk about how we got here. We had to pick it open, of course. I had to get all the gunk, a little bit of gunk cleaned out of there, and then get it picked open. Once it was picked open, I was able to take it apart. You could see all the parts here. And first of all, the shackle is joined to the plug. So they are all one piece, and that is all brass or bronze, whatever it might be. I cleaned all of that off using lighter fluid. So I poured lighter fluid all over it and then used a paper towel to scrub it down, but did a very light job because I did not want to lose that beautiful aged patina. As a side note, William Mansell reported to us that the lock was probably made between 1890 and 1906. And if you think about that, it's okay, well, you know, early 1900s, late 1800s, okay, that's amazing enough. But then it occurred to me that this lock was made before my grandparents were born. Now, I'm 56 years old, so you know my grandparents were born like 1899, 1900. So that was just unbelievable to me to think about it, that I'm touching something from so long ago, and then it still operates now that I've cleaned it up. The remaining parts, there are only 4 pins, as you can see. The original springs, the original pins, all still there. And the next thing I did was to start cleaning it up and putting it back together. The iron body went into vinegar. Because it's iron, the vinegar can't actually do damage to it the way that it might do to brass. So that soaked for actually almost 2 days in the vinegar. That took all of the rust off. We did a little quick cleanup of that. Like I said, the shackle I just cleaned up with some lighter fluid. And from there, I was ready to put it back together. What I found was this lock was apparently used quite a bit. The pins on the bottom, the key pins, were apparently steel, but they had this ridge in them from the key going in and out so many times. And that ridge obviously would change the bitting quite or at least a little bit. So I wanted to start fresh, and I took a file to them and filed as much as I could, taking out most of the ridge and cleaning up the end of the pin. From there, I put the pins into the plug and carefully hand filed one at a time each of the ridges in the key to match the appropriate the pins in the plug. I did not keep track of the order of the pins as I took them out, so this may not have been the original key bitting from the lock when it was manufactured, but at least the pins are in the right order, or are out of order, but they're all in the lock. So once that was all done, got the ridge, got the key made, we are now back to having this beautiful finished result. So, time to pick it. All right, let's get this into the vise. Now, if you've never seen a pick on a push lock, because the keyway has to be pushed inward in order to release the lock, you're not applying a turning force where you'd normally put a tensioner up there and turn. You need a pressing force. So since I can't push down, instead I will use this screwdriver to push up. And I'll apply the force to the body and then sort of be pulling the plug inward as I pick. Now, these are pretty tough pick, but interestingly enough, because they are standard pins, I can always get away with a rake. I'm just trying to do this the fun way and find the right tension. That's fun. That's kind of the trickiest part here, is too much tension, you're going to get nothing at all, especially because of the nature of the core. Too little tension, you're just going to drop your pins. Picking off that little bit of warding. Switching to a different angle here. These are tough little boogers. Now I feel what might be a little more loosening in the shackle and the pressure here, so I might be, well, might not be clamped in tight. And there we go. Alrighty. So basically you just keep pushing up on that, and again you're binding the pins against the fronts of, or I guess the backs technically, of their chambers instead. So there we go. We have our rebuilt beautiful Corbin lock, and it's open, and meanwhile it has itself a key. Unless, of course, I put it too far. Alrighty, Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me and for listening to my ramble. I do appreciate everybody's support and your attention. Please do do subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and please comment. Let me know what you think of this beautiful, beautiful 100-plus-year-old lock.